Hello, my name is Agata Hacura. I am the CFO at Anshar Studios. And my today's presentation, I want to start with this one question, which is, what do you usually base your business decisions on? I mean here both strategic decisions, like what next project to invest in or which publisher to go with, but also the day-to-day operational decisions like who to hire, how much to pay to the new employee, or when to pay your cost invoices. So what is it? Is it maybe usually your gut feeling, so your intuition? Or maybe you use a trial and error approach, meaning you try different solutions and then you just learn from the outcome. Or maybe you use some kind of a SWOT analysis, analyzing the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of your potential solutions. Or maybe for the financial decisions, you just check your bank account and seeing a positive balance on the bank account, you just decide that you have money for paying your invoices. All of these solutions have their place, but they can be misleading, they can lead to bad decisions, and this is because they do not give you a full picture of what's going on in your company. And they may be biased or they may be influenced by some of your misconceptions. So is there another way? The answer is yes. And I mean here the data-driven approach to financial decision-making. And the last surveys of McKinsey Consulting Company show that the companies that are data-driven perform by about 20% better than their competitors. And I know that right now you think that you use data in creation of video games. And I'm sure you do. I'm sure you use data and you base your decisions on your data in the product development, so in the process of production, in QA, in user experience field, or just in marketing. I'm sure you use data in marketing a lot. And because we all want to create great games that will be well received by the players, we use data and we base our decisions, but these are the decisions about the games. And there is a risk that one day you may wake up realizing that you do not have sufficient funds to cover all of your costs of production of this perfect game that you're creating, that you need to fire half of your team. And this is especially risky right now in the times when we see so many game dev studios being closed, so many game dev studios firing their employees. And this is because winter has come to game dev. And it's not that easy anymore to run a game dev studio. So from these high levels of creative visions, of creation of a video game, you just need to get back to the ground. And this is where financial controlling comes into play. And during my speech, I want to tell you why do you need financial controlling and how to introduce financial controlling in your organization. And I will show you the real examples of decision-making based on data that we have in our company. I will show you now 5 cases, 5 aspects of financial controlling, and I will comment on each of them. You will see here our real reports that we use at a daily basis, but for the purpose of this conference, I have randomized all the numbers, so please do not pay too much attention to the numbers and do not make any conclusions on the state of our company in here based on them. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with case number 1, which is budgeting. I would say that budgeting or forecasting is core of financial analysis, because without it, it's really difficult to say where your company is heading. And at Anshar, we prepare a master budget once a year, but I try to revise it on a monthly basis and prepare some short-term forecast. And at Anshar, we decided also to share the responsibility for the budgeting process with the heads of our departments. And this is because first, they know better what they need, what cost they need to bear, and because of this, the budget is more accurate, more realistic. And second of all, giving them the responsibility for this process gives them also some sense of ownership, a sense of more accountability of what's going on in the company. So how do we approach budgeting? First of all, we start with budgeting the expenses. We do it by grouping them into some categories. Then we budget the revenues. This is based on the contracts that we have with our clients. And for our own IPs, we try to estimate the sales somehow, but we try not to be too optimistic when we budget them. And having budgeted the expenses and the revenues, then we get the financial gap. So we know already when and for how much our revenues do not cover our costs. And when we prepare based on this some kind of a cash flow, we analyze the expected balances of the cash at the end of each month, and this way we know when are we gonna go bankrupt if we do not do anything about it. And at Anshar, this helped us in the previous years to decide in advance, for example, on renegotiation of the fees with the clients, or applying for a bank loan, or, for example, we started already in advance looking for other projects or other sources of finances. A part of this, the budget gives you a full picture of what's gonna happen in your company in the coming months. And this way, you can better allocate your resources, so your money, you can prioritize your expenses. And this also helps in decisions about cost reduction. And in time of prosperity, it helps you also to plan any investments, maybe in investments in any equipment, but also just expansion of your business. Okay, case number 2 is cost analysis. Here I mean the analysis of your real historic costs. So when we've already planned our expenses, then we can monitor how accurate our plans were. We can analyze the historic costs. We can see the trends of them. We can look for any discrepancies, for any anomalies. We can also easily identify this way any fields that are not efficient, so any inefficiencies in the cost. And for example, in our case, it helped us to decide on, for example, changing a supplier or changing the licenses for the cheaper ones or the free ones, etc. Okay, case number 3, profitability analysis. This aspect of financial controlling is super, super important, especially if you work on more than one project at the same time. And I have heard stories of companies in game dev that they don't know really if their game has paid off or not. And so they have no idea if their revenues covered all of the expenses of all of the costs of production of the game. And I'm just like, how can you not know if your game has been a financial success or a financial failure? How can you decide on your next titles if you do not analyze the financial performance of your previous titles? And because of the specifics of video game creation, you bear huge costs for a couple of years, and then only after some time you start seeing some revenues, or at least in a general model. And during this time of production of the game, you need to keep track of all of your costs. And these are not only the direct cost of production, like the salaries of the employees working on the project, but also the overheads. And this is super important in here. And for those of you who are not familiar with this concept, the overheads are all the costs that are not directly related to the project. So, for example, the administrative costs, and you split them proportionally on the project that you work on. And this is super important. Take a look here on this example. Here you can see on this chart the columns are the direct cost of a project, then the line is the revenues. And looking at this on first sight, it looks, wow, okay, the project is profitable. But suddenly when you add the overheads, the project is not profitable anymore. And usually most of the companies track only their direct costs. So once again, it is super important to know your overheads. And when you know all of this cost of production, so the direct cost plus the overheads, and you also know the number of the developers working on your project, when you divide one by the other, you get the man-month cost of production. So you know already how much a single developer costs you. This can be analyzed by the department, by project, by seniority level, by whatever you want. And if you work in a work for hire model, this is super important to know your man-month costs, because when you add to this number the margin that you want to gain, then you know the fees that you need to charge to your clients. And having all the costs, having also the revenues allocated properly to the project, you get the returns of the project, the return rates, and this way you can compare the projects between them. You can compare the project between. You can compare also the margins between the clients, and also if you work on your own IPs. Tracking all of your costs, overheads included, helps you also to determine the price that you will charge for the game, the average price, and also the number of the copies that you need to sell to reach the break-even point. Okay, case number 4, that's the analysis and forecasting of sales. In the case of the sales of our own projects, I didn't have to prepare any special reports. I didn't have to do a lot of work by myself, because there is a great tool called IndieBI, and this tool is prepared by Polish developers. This is dedicated just for game developers, and it gives you really so much insights on your sales. You can analyze the sales by the product, by platform, by country, and many other aspects. And what's great, they also use machine learning, they use advanced models to predict your future sales based on your past sales and based on the trends in the market. And they give you some advice on when to start a discount of your game. So this whole tool is really helpful in execution of your marketing plan. And this tool is still for free. And if you do not know it, but you would be interested in it, you think that this might be something interesting for your company, then the developers of this tool are also here on this conference, so you can, they're there, so you can arrange a meeting with them and talk about this product. Personally, I really recommend it because I think they did a really great job in here. Okay, case number 5, HR analysis. This is a very broad aspect of analysis. And at Anshar, we collect data about our employees. We have data from our payroll system. We have data from the system where the employees apply for the holidays and other absences. And based on all of this data, we also get lots of insight about our team in general. And I will show you now different aspects of HR analysis. So let's start with the simple one. We can, for example, learn some basic demographics about our teams. We can, for example, analyze the distribution of the employees by their seniority level across the departments. We have some statistics about the type of commitments, contracts, the gender diversity, etc. Then at Anshar, we also analyze the rotation of the employees. We analyze who joins us, who leaves us. We calculate the rotation and retention rates. And we can also analyze we can look at the trends, we can analyze the terminations of the contracts, we can do it from the perspective of the project, the departments, the seniority level, etc. And this also gives us a lot of insights who usually leaves us and for which reasons. Then the salaries, that's also a very big topic. Here we have only a sample of our analysis. At Anshar, we introduced the salary ranges. So these are the ranges that the salary should be based on the specialization and the seniority level of each employee. This analysis helps us to see if the salaries are in these ranges or not. We can compare this between the employees, and this also helps to decide on the salary of a new employee, and also to decide on the salary increases when the employees come to us and ask for more money. Then the next thing is the whole analysis of working habits of the employees. As I said, we have the system where the employees apply for their holidays and other absences. So we can see lots of trends in this. We can analyze this also per employee, per department, per project, etc. So we can see the trends. We can also calculate the cost of the absences of the employees. And we do the same with the remote work. We analyze how people work remotely. And all of this analysis, or HR analysis, helps us, it comes down to help us to creation of better and more optimal teams of people that we want to work with. So, to summarize, why do you need financial controlling? First, it gives you direction on where your company is heading. It gives you insights on the profitability, stability of your company. It ensures that you always have sufficient resources to cover your costs. It helps you to spot the opportunities, but also the threats for your company. It allows you to check if you're on track with your strategic objectives. And maybe the most important, it allows you to get better results with the constraints that you're in, so with what you're working with at the given moment. Okay, let's move now to the second part of my presentation. So how to implement financial controlling in your organization. Let's think first of who can do it for you. So the best solution would be to hire an in-house analyst or an in-house financial controller. And if you're a company of more than 100 people, then I definitely recommend to have such a person. But if you cannot afford such a person on your monthly payroll, then I recommend outsourcing this process to an external company. And there are companies that specialize in financial controlling and in financial reporting. And at Anshar, for a couple of years, we used the services, the controlling services of an external company called Ethereum. And they prepared the first financial reports for us in Power BI tool that I will talk later about. And they also had monthly meetings with the management board where they analyzed and discussed the financial situation of our company. And as well, if you think that this solution might fit you, the representatives of this company, Ethereum, are also here on this conference, and you can talk to them about their offer. Okay, next one. If this is still too much for you, you want to start small, you can ask your accountant or your administrative assistant to help you. I'm sure that just in Excel, having the accounting data, they can do lots of different analysis for you that might be really insightful. I think this is also something that you can start with. Then, if you're a one-man studio or you like things like this, you can just do it by yourself. And this is especially easy right now with ChatGPT and its plugin called Advanced Data Analysis. In the past months, we have seen AI revolutionizing data analytics. And I'm sure we will see more of this in the coming months, in the coming years. This will be much more easy in the future to analyze your data. It will be much quicker, but just remember, AI is only a tool, and it will not replace you in making decisions, or at least for now. Okay, now I will share with you 6 basic rules for implementing the financial analysis in your company. So, rule number 1, start with preparing financial analysis where you need it. So first, think about your problems. Might it be that you have some cash flow problems, or your company is not profitable, or the sales of your games are not as expected, or you lose too many of the employees. So find your problems first, and then in each case of these problems that I mentioned, you need different data, different approach to analysis. So this is important to know where to start. Okay, rule number 2, start small. So once again, depending on what you need, you can start with different types of analysis. In the case of financial analysis of the financial performance of your company, I suggest starting by creation of a simple budget for the couple of next months. You really do not need very detailed models, detailed budgeting, but just a simple budget will be sufficient. Start tracking some financial metrics, analyzing your numbers in the time. You can analyze your monthly costs, your monthly overheads, the return rates of your projects, etc. And at the beginning, when you implement financial controlling, you do not need any advanced models, any advanced data warehouses, any 10 pages dashboards, etc. So just start small. At Anshar, we started a couple of years ago. We started just by analyzing our costs. We had the list of our costs from our accounting system. We grouped them somehow. We analyzed the trends, and we looked for any anomalies. Okay, rule number 3, choose the right data. And data is available everywhere around you. It's in each aspect of creation of a video game, in each aspect of running a studio. But you do not need all the data. once again, based on what are your problems, where do you want to start with your analysis, just choose the data that will support answering your questions. And you can have different sources of data, like your accounting system, the payroll system, the stores, so like Epic Store, Steam, etc., the timesheets, any time tracking systems. You can use Jira and other project management tools. And just a note here, Jira has its own built-in analytics tools, so you can analyze the data already in there. You can use your recruiting system. Of course, all the Excel files where you keep any data, or just sometimes you just need to create data. And for example, in the last days, couple of days ago, our DevOps introduced a new system for tracking and applying for overruns in Anshar, and this system collects all the data and keeps it in a dedicated file on SharePoint, and we will use the data, and it will help us to analyze the trends in the overruns, what are the frequencies, what are the reasons for overruns of the employees, etc. This will be very useful information for us. Okay, rule number 4. The choice of tool is not that important, at least at the beginning, and Excel is still a very powerful tool. You can do almost anything in it, and personally I use Excel every single day. And there are also these business intelligence tools on the market. Some of them are for free, some of them are, for some of them you need to pay. Power BI and Tableau are probably the most popular ones. At Anshar we use Power BI. But as I said earlier, we started with Excel, we started with some simple analysis, and then only after some time when we had too much of the data, it took us too much time to clean the data, to prepare everything for the analysis, we switched to Power BI, and this was done by this external partner of us, Anterium, and they set up the whole environment for us. They prepared the first reports, and this helped a lot in automation of the process of making analysis. And right now, just the analysis, they just happen magically and automatically. And once again, I need to mention the tool in DBI, which can be used for analysis of your sales. Rule number 5, keep the analysis regular. So make a habit of running your analysis monthly or at least quarterly. And this way you'll be able to intervene if something happens. And otherwise, if you set up controlling in your company the way that I recommend, but you do not do the analysis regularly, then the controlling becomes just another cost for your company. It doesn't make any additional value to the company. Last but not least, rule number 6, to make the financial controlling successful, allow it to evolve with your business, with the industry, and evolve with the technology. So to conclude, no matter the size or the profile of your company, especially nowadays, if you want your company game dev company to survive on the market, I strongly recommend starting analyzing your financial data. And start it small, focus on specific problems, and start it right now. And that's it. Thank you very much. Okay, are there maybe any questions? or you can... Then if anybody is interested, I am there at Anshar Studios booth. You can talk to me if needed. Okay. There's a microphone, wait.
Thanks. I'd like to ask you, with this Power BI tools or the other tools to present the data, how do you feed the data from the systems? What is the model of providing the data, like financial data, but also like HR data that you're analyzing to produce the reports?
So we have different sources of data. For example, for accounting, this BI tool is connected with our accounting system. It's connected with all the systems. It uses the data from the system based on some APIs, APIs, right? And so it connects it collects the data this way. We use also some Excel files, for example, for some HR data, and yeah, that's like this. We do not have any data warehouse at Anshar, but it's also a solution. And maybe one day we will do this. Okay? Yes?
Hello, I'm Piotr Goguś, and I'm a CFO of IndieBI and Something Random. And but I want to ask you, because we have quite a problem right now that we are working on the solution. Our chart of the accounts is enormously big. We are up to 70,000 accounts in the chart of accounts only. And how you create the system of the information that you need, what types of data you are looking for, how you split the company into the fields you want to analyze separately, like departments, like projects, like type of specific costs. What are your recommendations to for the company who already has some kind of controlling system but want to recreate it to make it better?
Okay, so for the historic data, we use the data from our accounting system. In general, we take all of the positions all of the records that we have in the accounting system. So maybe it's not, for now, it's still, the system is still okay. It's not that much, so the system couldn't work with it. But we have some additional mappings in like Excel files that help us to map some data how we need it. That helps us to categorize also the data, because what is really important, the official accounting might not be exactly what you want to see, because this will not give you it doesn't necessarily give you the full picture of your company, of all of your costs. I don't want to get into details, but it might not be what you need, right?
So you map it externally somewhere else and connect this
we have
data.
we have some this kind of mapping of the accounts.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm not sure if you can answer this question, so feel free to say that it's a secret or something. But since you appear to be collecting this data and analyzing it constantly for your company, could you give some estimate of what size of a buffer do you need in most projects for things that at the beginning you cannot plan for? You know, like something goes wrong, because always something goes wrong, basically, in relation to total cost of the project.
But you mean the buffer in the project, right? We usually add the margin that we want to realize, but we also add the buffer of, I would say, 30%, but probably I'm not the good person to answer it. You might better talk to our CEO, who usually does it. But I would say this is more or less this. But on the other hand, we try to be as much realistic with the budget as we can. So this is why we need the financial controlling, not to have the buffers. So we needed to be as accurate with the plans for the project as possible.
Thank you.
Hello, hi. My name is Bartosz Ostafiński. I'm CEO of Enterium. So we know Anshar a bit. We help you guys. I would like Agata ask you a question about managing future cash flow. If you can elaborate more on that, how it is now organized and how you manage future cash flow at Anshar.
For now, we budget the cash flow based on the budgeted expenses and the budgeted revenues. I'm still working on preparing some better version of it, but that's just it. We estimate for each category of expenses, for each category of revenue, I estimate when how many days does it need to this invoice, this kind of cost or this kind of revenue to be paid, and this way I estimate it. So yeah.
Thanks.
Hi. Was there some kind of point in Anshar's history when you figure out that you weren't doing the financial analysis and you need to start doing it, or did you start from day zero when running the company?
Not really from day zero, but somehow because I was engaged at Anshar just from the beginning in helping Anshar, and as this is my field that I really I'm into it. Then we just started financial controlling when I think we were like 3 years old or something like this. So it was about 7-8 years ago. But as I said, we started it small. This is because I wasn't engaged full time at Anshar then. So the controlling, like the full-time controlling, we started with using this outsourcing partner like 5 years ago, and now I'm doing it by myself full-time there.
Thanks.
Okay, so thank you very much. If somebody wants to talk to me, I'm just here, so you can reach me. Thank you.